Hi everyone, I'm Dave Giancola and welcome back to another episode of The Road to Stardom. Golf fans have watched Scottie Scheffler's quick rise in the professional ranks with an early notable performance coming in the 2021 WGC Match Play Championship where he finished as the runner-up to Billy Horschel. Well, his match play prowess should come as no surprise to those who followed his career as an amateur. It was in 2013 when the young Texan started to make a name for himself on a national stage, winning the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. Let's take you back to that week at Martis Camp in Truckee, California, starting with the quarterfinals, which also included fellow future PGA Tour pro Doug Ghim, future U.S. Amateur runner-up John Augenstein, and future European Tour winner Sam Horsfield.
This is his fourth junior amateur championship. So at this point, you'd have to say, Burko, that he's probably one of the more experienced in this particular championship.
Absolutely. Now at the 15th, Scottie Scheffler, short one to have the hole, gets it to go, so remains 3 up.
Mr. Scheffler is 3 up and Dormy.
This was just earlier, second shot at 16 for Scottie Scheffler, who is 3 up over PJ Semier in this match.
Chose the conservative route off the tee, playing most likely to his strength, which is wedge play. To Texas.
No surprise there.
Older sister Callie plays for the Aggies of A&M, so certainly a little bit of a drawing of the line in that household.
Beautiful putt there, so he holds it for a 3, and the hat is off, and the match is over.
3 and 2.
So we have our second semifinalist, Scottie Scheffler, Dallas, Texas. Just a few moments ago, this was the 17-year-old from Dallas, Texas, Scottie Scheffler's third shot at the 23rd hole of the championship match. This shot to win the hole and square the match. So the championship match of the 66th U.S. Junior is underway, and it is a good one. Golf Channel proudly presents a national championship conducted by the United States Golf Association. We're near historic Truckee, California for the final match of the 66th U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. Lake Tahoe, one of the most magnificent natural wonders on this planet in the summer. This is an aquatic adventure land. And just a few miles away, Martis Camp, one of the finest new private residential communities that's been developed in the last decade. And this place may be just as much fun in the winter as it is in the summer. Fly fishing, if you're into that, I am. And a Tom Fazio designed golf course that is an absolute beauty. It stretches out to over 7,500 yards, doesn't play that long because of the elevation. And in the championship match, they played 18 holes this morning. They came to the 18th hole with Davis Riley 1 up, but he drove the ball into a fairway bunker. This was Scottie Scheffler's second shot at the par 4.
And this was a beautifully struck 5-iron from 210 yards. Utilizes the slope beautifully. Darn near pulls it out. What a shot.
In the meantime, Davis Riley was watching that, and he followed it with this shot.
Had a good lie in the flat part of the bunker. Gripped down on a 6-iron. And answered with his own stellar shot.
They would have that hole with birdies, take a little lunch break, and then at the 19th hole, they halved it. This Scottie Scheffler at the 20th. That was for a par. Excuse me, Riley for a par.
Riley 4, Mr. Scheffler 4, Mr. Riley 1 up.
Have it, so he remained 1 up. And then, of course, we saw the Scottie Scheffler beauty there at the 23rd hole. So the match is all square now through 23 holes. And what a match it is. And hi, everyone. Mark Rolfing along with Kay Cockrell. Kay, it's going to be a phenomenal afternoon out here at Martis Camp. We began the week with 156 players. We have now weeded that down to just 2, and I know you think these are 2 of the best players in the entire field.
I do. I think they're great representatives of how strong teenagers are who are playing golf in the U.S. right now. These 2 players were seeded top 5 after the 36 holes of stroke play, so it's no wonder that they made it all the way to the end. They are both solid young individuals. They actually know each other very well, play a lot of junior golf together, and they're both committed to 2 powerhouse golf collegiate schools, Riley to Alabama and Scheffler to Texas. So interesting that they both are friends and they know each other. They are very familiar with their games, but it's important that they don't think about their friendship. They have to consider each other as enemies, as opponents.
Well, this Martis Camp Club is a phenomenal spot, and the Tom Fazio design really is one of my favorite Tom Fazio golf courses I've ever seen. I know you think it's important, though, for these players this afternoon to not totally be thinking about playing the course. You have to play your opponent.
You do. That's the essential element with match play. Head-to-head, each hole is like a tournament into its own space. You have to have a general game plan of how you're going to play the golf course in terms of what clubs you're going to hit off the tee, but you have to essentially play your shots depending on where your opponent is lying, and that means you end up with a lot of lag putting to cozy it up there to force pressure on your opponent or chip up to the spot where you have the easiest putt. So yes, a lot of strategy involved.
Well, it's going to be a very exciting afternoon. Also joining us, Steve Burkowski calling the holes, and we have 2 players on the course and 2 announcers. Rich Beam and Val Skinner are out there, and let's hear from Rich.
Yeah, Davis has got a very difficult lie here. Not too sure what he's going to. Yeah, as you can see there, he was just trying to bounce it down to the green, and just came up, just really hit a bad shot.
Yeah, this par 4, they moved the tees up to the 4th tee box. It's a reachable par 4.
And now Val Scheffler's shot.
And Mark, this ball would have made it to the green had he not just pushed it a little bit to the right. He drove it 330 on the last hole. Very bad lie here. Just going to have to try to catch a good bounce out off of this ridge.
Problem is it's so fast from front to back, and you can see just a little bit too firm, and he's all the way down, I think, where the hole was located yesterday.
If you decide to go for this green, you need to get it to it today with this whole location.
He may actually have some difficulty in putting that ball from down there. Let's take a look at how Davis Riley made it to this championship match. Pretty much been cruising through this field, Kay.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, today was the first day that either one of these players has played the 18th hole. They were able to finish out their matches early.
And so now the referee with the group is going to have to come in and measure who is actually away, and we have David Stabler with us up here in the booth from the United States Golf Association. Very important to make sure you know who's away, correct, David?
Correct, because if you play out of turn in match play, you're going to hand your opponent the opportunity to either accept the result of your shot or have you cancel and replay immediately when it's your turn.
We will be hearing from David off and on as the afternoon goes on. Now let's see how Scotty Scheffler made it. You can see a big romp in the opening match and then barely got through in the round of 32.
Yeah, that was his tightest match. And usually you'll have 1 or 2 matches that are squeakers.
Val, what is he looking at here with this putt? This has got to be a tough one.
Well, it does move right, which is going to help him negotiate the first little cut hair fringe, as well as those 2 what appear to be sprinkler heads.
Yeah, and that point where we see where everything comes in, he's going to have to just skim that line.
This has a lot of slice in it as it comes up the hill, but he caught that little cut there. It might go back down.
Well, as speedy as it is downhill, it's very slow coming back up.
This one's going to pick up speed now. So perhaps a mistake by Scotty Scheffler after Riley made the mistake on the second shot.
And right here is a great example of Greg Sanfilippo and his staff, who have created some very interesting hole locations.
Riley's third, and it's a good one. You see just how fast these putting surfaces are, running about 12 on the Stimpmeter. We have been told by the USGA.
I think that's where they measured in the morning when it's a flat surface. Most of these greens have a lot of tilt. And in the afternoon, with the temperature warming up and no more dew on the ground, these greens are slick as glass.
The ebb and flow of match play. This could be a very important hole in this championship match, Val.
You know, Mark, you just get up, you chip in on the last on the 23rd we saw in the opening, and you know, now you're faced with this kind of a mistake. It can rattle you for sure.
Or you can see
That peeked in.
what a good effort there, but still that will be a 5 for Scheffler. And now Rich Riley, almost unbelievably, has a putt to win the hole.
He sure does. It's pretty amazing how match play works. He's looking at about a 5-footer, and actually got a pretty good read off of Scott's putt. And if he can make this, he takes the lead once again.
Both of these players, I could say that, you know, they have been very solid on the putting greens. You have to be in order to make it to the championship match. But Rich, things change a little bit on the second 18 in a 36-hole match, don't they?
They sure do. Things kind of tighten up that weren't so tight at in the first 18, that's for sure.
Davis Riley reclaims the lead in the match.
Mr.
Two
Riley,
players
4,
remain,
Mr. Scheffler, 5.
and they both
Mr.
have
Riley,
dreams of winning the U.S. Junior Amateur. And welcome back to Martis Camp. This is the tee on the 25th hole, and let's welcome in Steve Burkowski.
Mark, thanks so much. The par 5, 566 yards. Riley first to go.
I really like the way he holds his finish with authority. He's in total control with his balance.
After that, Scotty Scheffler followed up, now one down in the match. Val, with a look at it.
These bunkers are in play all the way down the right-hand side, but he has driven this beautifully. All 165 pounds and 6'2.5" of him.
Yeah, he had quite a growth spurt in the last couple years, and he's handled that change quite well.
So in this 36-hole championship match, Davis Riley 1 up through 24 holes.
13 USGA championships annually, and there have been some beauties this year already, Kay.
There have, what are we, about halfway through the season, maybe a little more? Beautiful win by Inbee Park, winning her 3rd major in a row. Interesting, sort of the same kind of swing with Kenny Perry, that slow, deliberate, tempo-driven swing.
I got to tell you, watching Kenny Perry smoke him in Omaha, I really lost track of the fact that it was senior golf. It was almost like watching the regular PGA Tour guys.
And last week was the U.S. Amateur Public Links Championship.
U.S. Girls Junior is going on right now in Sycamore Hills Golf Club, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Championship match is all square there.
Through 33 holes. Yeah, they're a little ahead of us.
Then we got a couple of good ones coming up. The Women's Amateur in Charleston, then followed up by a return to the Country Club 100 years after Frances Ouimet made a little bit of history in 1913.
And rounding out the schedule, you can see the September and October events. So much attention gets focused on the men's U.S. Open, but really the USGA does a phenomenal job with all 13 national championships.
And Cordoval hosting the Senior Women's Amateur this week. That's just south of San Jose in the Bay Area. Wish I was going to be able to head out there and see, but I'm going to be on the opposite side of the United States.
Coming into the championship match, you can see there's been very even in terms of the number of holes played. And I would expect that it's going to go all the way to the end today, Steve.
Well, they certainly will, Mark. This hole was won by Scotty Scheffler in the morning with the birdie. Riley will be first to play his second.
Davis has 277 yards up the hill. Not
Still
too
maybe
sure
a
if he
baby
can reach
helper.
this.
Yeah, this hole plays uphill all the way from the tee to the green, just a steady incline. Well, that was pretty good effort.
Comes up just a couple of feet short of the green. So Scotty Scheffler will now get ready for his second. Waiting for his caddy to move on in.
Well, understandably so. This is Dave Harmon, his caddy. He's a retired ceramic engineer. He was a volunteer caddy this week that felt lucky to be chosen. He actually volunteered to caddy at last year's Girls Junior in Lake Merced. So far things working out really well with them.
When he volunteered, did you think he was going to be on the bag all week or maybe just a couple of rounds?
I think that has surprised him. He's been nursing some blisters. He is 73 years old, and he is having a ball.
What is Scotty facing here, Val?
261 up the hill with a little narrow section of the green right where the hole location is. So very difficult green to get the ball on and get it to stop.
Well, that going way right. Came out of that shot.
So problems for Scotty Scheffler. Riley Davis is right in front of the green. We'll be right back.
We are back at the par 5 7th, the 25th hole of this championship match. Davis Riley with a 1-up advantage over Scotty Scheffler. Both players getting ready for their third, and Scotty with a little bit of an issue here.
He does not have a great lie. He actually walked up to study the line and look at it and had trouble finding his ball walking back. So that sort of tells you what he's looking at.
Val, it looks like that pine tree on the left's not going to be too much of an issue, but what he has to deal with is the green slopes away severely after the hole.
Yes, it does, and it's going to be very hard for him out of this lie to get the ball down. And he has to land it just over the bunker. He hit the big blast cut.
And that was pretty well done, but there's just no stopping it. Everything slopes to the back and the left on this green.
His technique was good to try to get as much spin as he could, and it's about all he had.
So that rolls off the green, so advantage Davis Riley perhaps as he will get ready to play his third. You talked about the verbal commitments. Davis Riley to Alabama, Scotty Scheffler verbal to the University of Texas. A little bit of a rivalry now starting to develop as the 2012 National Championships. Those teams were in the final match, came down to the last hole at Riviera, and will be one none of us will soon forget. So we're now getting that Bama-Texas rivalry sort of dropping down in the junior ranks right now.
Well, and I must say that I am from Austin, Texas, and do play at the UT Golf Club, so hook 'em.
So determining now who might be away. Would it be Scheffler with his fourth or Riley and his third?
I think it's Davis. Davis, they're actually just looking at seeing how much break that he wants to play. He's got a very simple shot, but the one big problem he does have is to find out how much break he wants to play and judging the speed correctly.
Yeah, this is uphill a little bit most of the way, and then it'll start tapering off, and that's when the downhill starts after the hole. A lot of right to left movement.
Did he hit it?
Oh. Yeah, it just came up about 8 or 10 feet short, and this is kind of the times that in match play you really need to take advantage of the opportunities that come to you.
Davis, a very good ball striker. If there is maybe a bit of a weakness or some room for improvement, it is with his putting. He's had an exceptional week with the flat stick so far, but certainly his ball striking throughout his junior career has been what leads his way.
Well, and it's the opposite for Scotty. He is really something with the putter. All the young players that I spoke to yesterday trying to learn a little bit about this 17-year-old young man said, man, he can really, really putt. And he is going to go with that here. He had a little, either a 9-iron or a wedge out earlier, changed his mind, a little bit uphill. That's probably going to help the most.
Pretty good effort there by Scotty, so par likely to be conceded. And you can see it is. So Riley now with a wonderful opportunity for birdie to win the hole and go 2 up in this match.
Well, if Davis's Achilles heel is his putting, you've got me fooled. He sure has made a lot of really nice putts over the last few days. The one I was most impressed with today was the par save he had on number 2, their 19th or their 20th hole. It was fantastic. I mean, just rolled right into the heart.
You can see his caddy Binky there, a local caddy, shall we say, well into this week.
He's enthusiastic, to say the least. Gus Jones, the head pro here, actually set him up with me when I came up here about a month ago to play this course and check it out, and he is very knowledgeable. This now to win the hole, a little right to left movement. Nope, never got that high enough.
Might not be done yet.
I'm a little surprised this one's not being given.
A couple feet remaining, 1 down. You're a little more generous than most, Kay.
I don't think it's that long. It looks about 1.5 feet to me.
So Davis Riley squanders an opportunity, but he remains 1 up in the championship match. And welcome back. This is Davis Riley. He is 1 up in the championship match, 26th hole, par 3 8th, and it is a big one, Kay.
Wow, a big 260. It does play 25 yards down, plus the altitude. They hit 4 irons here this morning. So going with 4 iron again. Boy, that's a couple shots. He's missed this one out to the right.
Well, that will skirt the bunker and end up in the right-hand rough downslope. And this rough is healthy.
No, and this whole location is so tricky. It's just from the tee, it looks like it's barely hanging on the back left part of this green.
This is a 4 iron as well. Davis hit 4 iron, and big advantage now for Scheffler. I think Scheffler, certainly has a big target here with this green and doesn't have to get too cute.
No, he's aiming for should be aiming for the center of the green. One place you cannot go is long.
And then he went right as well. I'm not sure if that's going to catch any green.
That
Great
might be
kick.
one of the bounces of his life right there. That is going to end up on the green below the hole.
Gotta love it.
Yes, you do. Davis Riley is 1 up, but he is in trouble when we come back to Martis Camp. Welcome back to the 26th hole of the championship match at the U.S. Junior Amateur Martis Camp Club, just outside of Truckee, California. That is Davis Riley, the young man right there who is from Hattiesburg, Mississippi, 16 years old, going to be a junior, and has himself a 1-up lead, but a little bit of a predicament here, Rich.
He sure does. And lie's actually not too bad. He's just trying to figure out how much it's going to bounce and run and skip and hop. He does have plenty of green to work with.
That hole is located way up on a little perch. Oh, how about this little shot? Lovely.
So Davis Riley with a chance to save his par from about 4 feet. And if you want to find out more about this U.S. Junior Amateur or any of the USGA's 13 national championships, log on to www.usga.org.
And speaking of that, the girls' junior just now finished. Gabriella Ten, a winner over Abe, 2-1 at Sycamore Hills. So future USC Trojan 10. So Andrea Gaston's team continuing to have a lot of talent.
She continues to recruit well.
And now Scotty Scheffler with a putt that he didn't expect to have, I wouldn't think, Val, to win the hole and square the match.
Indeed, and he's happy to have it. That was a terrific bounce that he got here. And this overall is going to go mostly left to right. It's back up the hill.
That was
good effort there. That will likely be conceded for 3.
His leads, his speed is so excellent. He leaves the ball very close to the hole, but yet past it most often.
We talked about them knowing each other very well. They played a couple of competitive games of ping pong earlier this week, but they never played a golf match against one another.
Well, Rich Davis Riley would have liked to have left this one on the other side of the hole, wouldn't he?
You know, actually, I don't think so. I think it's a pretty flat putt here, actually. But these are the type of putts at this moment of proceedings that will get you a little nervous. Davis has actually gone to that towel of his a few times, and I don't know if he's just wiping off her nerves or there's no humidity out here, so it's got to be it.
Yeah, it's dry as a bone out there, right?
You better believe it. It's really dry.
Oh, this would be a huge up and down par.
Rock solid putt by Davis Riley. Looked like he was in trouble. Saved his par with a beautiful up and down, and he remains one up. They will head over to the tee at the 9th, which is the 27th hole of the match. Championship match scheduled for 36 holes. Who knows how many they'll play today.
We're back at the tee, the par 4 9th, 27th hole of this championship match, 504 yards this morning. Both players made par.
Every other day.
Square it up, smooth it out.
Grabbing the driver, Binky giving him the vote of confidence.
Yeah, Binky says to him, square it up, smooth it out, meaning square it up, pick your line, and smooth it out. He has a tendency to get a little quick. Pretty tight little chute to hit through, Rich.
Yeah, it's a little bit a little tight out there, but it's not too bad.
300 yards out to that bunker on the right. The fairway itself is pretty narrow.
Well, as narrow as it is, that one was hit beautifully. It was just a joy to watch with the mountains in the background there.
So that ends up left-hand side of the fairway. Now Scotty Scheffler next to play.
And Scott is definitely has the length to reach that bunker at 300 yards. This is also going to play a little bit downhill. Anything right center will work.
Yeah, that mountain that you guys see up there is Lookout Mountain. That's one of the tops of one of the chairlifts.
So a couple of good drives here at the 9th. Davis Riley, that is, one up in this championship match as they make their way down the par 4 9th scheduled for this 36-hole championship match at Martis Camp.
Scotty also did another amazing thing. He shot 61 twice in the same week last year. First at Northwood Club in Dallas, where they held the 52 U.S. Open, and then 2 days later, he shot a 61 at Dallas Country Club, so a penchant for going low.
Well, let me give a shout out to Davis Riley then, who shot 61 at his home course.
Mm-hmm.
and
Canebrook.
These kids are just so good these days. I mean, the instruction is getting better and better, the equipment obviously, but they are very talented players.
Yeah, that course you talk about is Canebrake Country Club in the greater Hattiesburg area, and Jerry Pate design.
You know what? 10, 15, 20 years ago, we're not talking about juniors shooting those scores. It just didn't happen. So back out here at the par 4 9th, 27th hole. Riley getting ready for his second one up in the match.
Yeah, he's got 183 yards. Not too sure what club he's got, but this is a very scary looking hole location. It is just, it's brown and on the green, and just, it doesn't look like anything good can happen.
You're actually better off if you end up a little long and left of the hole location for your putt.
He is going with a 7-iron.
Missing it right is terrible because it's all shaved down and it'll carry off to the right, and yeah, that's not a bad leave.
just what you said, Kay, about 25, 30 feet past the hole, a little left. So smart shot there by Riley.
Of course, these guys are playing the same hole locations again this afternoon. So, Val, they're familiar with the shots they need to hit.
Yeah, that is one advantage. He's going to have to be very patient here. It's a tough time with an 8-iron to take your medicine and not go for this hole location because, as you said, it's very treacherous on the right side of the green. The green started stamping at 12 this week, and I think they've got to be a little faster at this point.
Boy, nice rhythm on that swing. They're going to end up just about the same spot.
Very similar result. Couple of birdie putts upcoming for Riley and Scheffler. And we talked about Scotty Scheffler, the great golf he has played in the state of Texas. A lot of junior golf as well. One of those he has played alongside for the past few years. James Reagan, a young man who he has befriended, and unfortunately right now a young man who is battling pediatric bone cancer. Certainly on the mind of Scotty this week.
I met James when I was playing junior golf. And we became friends pretty quick. I knew what he was going through, and it's tough when you're going through something like that. And he just never stopped smiling. He's taught me. I used to think golf was a really big deal, but it's not that big of a deal. Not at all. I mean, what he's going through is just, I can't even describe it. To know that your time is short, and the thing, his charity, most likely it's not going to save his life. It may prolong it, but his charity, he's doing that for other people, not himself. It's called Triumph Over Kids Cancer. It's for pediatric bone cancer, and it's tough. They got to raise a lot of money because the charity and the when you're doing cancer research is super expensive, and they got to raise tons and tons of money, and it's tough because it's only small. But I think once people hear about his story, then it's going to get big.
Very emotional conversation I had with Scotty yesterday. Actually broke down a couple of times, gathered himself, really wanted to sort of pay a little tribute to James and let him know that he was thinking about him. And for a 17-year-old to sort of put it in perspective and say, you know what, golf really doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot when my buddy's battling something much more difficult.
Yeah, a friend that's just a couple years older than he is himself.
So you take a look at how it is played out, this 36-hole championship match. Riley got the lead early, extended it to 3 up through 6, but then Scheffler just sort of hung around.
Well, yeah, they both, I wouldn't say they were there very sharp on the front 9, but the back 9, they both came alive. 4 birdies and just 1 bogey for each competitor on the back 9.
See the first 8 holes this afternoon. Got to all square through 23, but Riley, the very next hole, got his advantage back. Has never trailed in this championship match.
And that's a nice place to be when you can have the advantage, you have the honor on the tee, you sort of are dictating things, and you know that your fellow competitor essentially has to win 2 holes to beat you.
So a couple of birdie putts upcoming here at the par 4 9th. Riley will be first to go.
I think when you say birdie attempt, I think that's I guess that's exactly what it is, but I'm looking at these putts, and I'm scared for these kids. It's unbelievable how fast they look right now.
Oh, Rich, when I was talking with Greg Sanfilippo, who's the director of this championship, he said they were striving to identify the best competitor, and they were really trying to balance the tough hole locations with intermediate and easy ones, depending on the clubs they had in.
Wow, there's nothing easy about this, I can tell you that.
Just a little short with that effort, but quickly scooped up by his opponent Scheffler, so the par is conceded. So I wonder how much Scotty took a look at that line, a very similar spot he'll be putting from.
Oh, I'm sure he was all over it.
Well, he actually came to the other side of the green so that he could see it come down the slope, which showed him that it goes a little right before it goes left.
Val, this is where patience has to come into play, because he could be tempted to go for this, but I think lagging it up there and ensuring an easy par and a half is just fine.
Well, you know when you always step up to that second putt after you've missed the first one? That's what the advantage is, putting second in this order.
Go in.
And he almost did it, and there's that good speed again.
Yeah, well, that's too much speed, and that's no gimme coming back.
A little bit of work remaining. You guys hit on a key point. I spoke with Randy Smith, who's taught Scotty for the past 11 years, and he said something he's going to keep an eye on today to make sure Scotty doesn't press or force the issue unless it's absolutely needed. And at this point of the proceedings, you know, you're only one down.
Well, I think Rich said it best, that putt was not a real easy putt, and Val, you know, you have to take your moments to be aggressive and others to just be gentle with the putts. Huge unforced error right there.
So a 3-putt bogey for Scheffler at the 27th hole. Riley now with a 2-up advantage.
It's a big hole, but remember, folks, we are at a very high elevation here, 6,000 feet basically, and these holes do not play the length that you will see them on the card, but I like this hole particularly. It's a dogleg right all the way. My favorite kind of hole. So Davis Riley now unexpectedly, Rich, in a position of being 2-up, and that 2-up lead is just totally different. You've played a lot of match play, but 2-up is way different than 1-up, don't you think?
Exactly. It is. You know, you have basically 2 extra chances if you happen to mess anything up. So I think what he needs to do is I think he needs to stay aggressive and really get after his opponent now and see if you can't get him 3 down. Because once you get him 3 down, then you're going to want to get him 4 down.
Yep, exactly. I completely agree with that mentality, Rich. Because he saw a 3-up lead evaporate that he had established earlier in the match.
Yeah, when you get that far up early in the match, though, you got to remember it's a marathon day. It's not just a sprint like 18 holes in the previous few matches.
3-wood for Riley. Hand off the club again.
Here we go. Here we go. All right.
That is pulled. Takes a friendly bounce, though, so should be able to get that one back in play, and we'll see if Scotty Scheffler plays a little more aggressively. Riley with a 3-wood.
And Val, what do you think Scheffler has to say to himself now?
Well, he's been in this position. He was never down in the semifinal match, but he was down earlier in the week in a couple of matches and fought back. 353 to the bunker down there on the left. This is a huge par 5 in terms of yardage, 642, but they reached it yesterday.
They reached the fairway bunker today. And
that's the reason Davis Riley hit a 3-wood off the 10th tee. He is short of that fairway bunker, and Davis has himself a 2-up lead at the U.S. Junior Amateur. You can see him carrying the driver down the hill from the 10th tee to the fairway. Unfortunately, that driver ended up in the fairway bunker. Kay, let's take a look at this swing.
actually, he has a very nice setup. His shoulders are a little open, as are his feet. That's indicating he wanted to hit a little bit of a cut shot. You know, started at the left edge of the bunker and let it peel to the right. Good one-piece takeaway. Head stays very steady. Loads nicely onto the right side. Club looks good. Position, really nice position at the top. He's got he has long arms, a lot of flexibility. You know, coming down, he probably just, you know, squares up a little bit, you know, gets that club face turned over just a little bit, doesn't allow it to cut from left to right. Swinging through, good balance. And that's a lot of flexibility. Now let's look at his head and his shoulders. Look how steady his head dips down just a little bit. A lot of effort going through. He's a growing young man, 17 years old. Val said there's not a lot of weight to him, and he had a big growth spurt in the last couple of years, but that bunker out there is 350 off the tee.
Davis Riley will be first. Rich?
He's got 330 yards, and he's hit this 3-wood. He's got this cool shot. He hits this low bullet that'll just chase forever.
All
3
appeared to have chased right into that bunker. So that will be a lengthy bunker shot, 50 yards, maybe all the way to that whole location.
That was not very far from being a wonderful shot. He was in that bunker yesterday and without much success made a 5, lost the hole. So we'll see if you can improve on that today.
Well, it's going to be interesting as we see Scotty Scheffler now march up to this fairway bunker, 350 yards. Val, do you think that he believed he was going to hit that driver on that line and end up short of the bunker, or did he pull it?
No, I think he was trying to hit a cut shot. I think he's 2 down in the match. He can reach the green in 2 at the par 5. Wanted to hit the big tee ball with a little cut, and it just didn't turn over for him.
Sorry.
Spectator-friendly event, this U.S. Junior Amateur. The spectators allowed to follow right out in the fairways and hear what the players and caddies are talking about. Pretty good lie, it looks like.
283 yards. Just going to depend on where he wants to leave himself. He's got this going more left than he would like it, but he is trying to get an angle for his 3rd.
And Val, you said it, that's great positioning for that back hole location. This is the longest green on the golf course. Again, 49 paces from front to back.
Earlier, we had a chance to ask both of these players in this championship match their thoughts on match play.
I don't prepare for it much different, but I like it because, I mean, you make triple on a hole, you can take more risks. It's just one hole.
You know, I just stick to the game plan, except you're not playing the whole field, you're just playing the person next to you. And, you know, I only play 1 or 2 match play tournaments a year, and this is one of them.
For as little experiences they've had, they're both done very well. I think the best thing about match play is I think it's easier to forget your mistakes, to put it behind you, because everything's about this hole, this moment, this shot.
Why were you so good at match play?
Probably because I got really focused, and I was able to forget mistakes really easily and just stay in the moment. And staying in the moment with golf is very important, and I think match play lends itself to that happening better. And I would really not think about my opponent much, except for the fact of what I needed to do with my shot.
Rich, as we watch Davis Riley march up here on the 10th fairway, you didn't play in a whole lot of USGA match play events, but I know you've played a lot of match play. In your mind, what's the most important thing for, let's say, a young player in match play like this?
I think it's playing aggressive. I think that you really have to have an aggressive mentality and attack your opponent. You don't have to attack the golf course necessarily, but you got to attack your opponent and expose any, I don't say weaknesses that he might have, but really go after it, play an aggressive style of golf and force his hand to follow you along.
Val, you agree with that point?
Well, I think the most important thing is always to expect your opponent to play well, and, you know, get into playing the game that works best for you to manage the match.
That's a great point, Val, and I agree. I'd always expect my opponent to hole a putt, so that meant I was always prepared to do your best on your shot. And I think with Rich's point, putting, I think you see a lot of players putt better in match play because they don't worry about the comeback putt.
I know the Europeans putt better in the Ryder Cup, that's for sure.
Well, and you choose your time to be aggressive based on the fact that there are certain situations, you know, in match play, you can make an 8 and it only counts as 1.
Right.
So if there is a time for you to make a move, you just have to recognize it and commit, make that decision, and then deal with what the outcome is.
And as well as these players are playing, they're still going to make some mistakes. Who can handle those mistakes better and let them go?
Well, and this young man has a reputation of being a leader, really well liked and respected out here by a number of the players, and certainly has good balance and control in his life. Plays a ton of other sports. I mean, he's not out there putting the kind of pressure on himself that would necessarily derail him. He has a lot of balance. His father will tell you that he's actually a better basketball player than he is golfer. This is just 98 yards back down to that whole location. It's going to move right and go fast.
Actually, an easier putt is a little bit past the hole.
That's a good shot.
Oh, that's a gorgeous shot.
And a very important time for Scotty Scheffler, who is 2 down, to hit a shot like that. So now the pressure shifts over to Davis Riley, who is in the bunker, and it is well short of the green. Not even really a greenside bunker, hardly, Rich.
It is not. He has 58 yards, but that's somewhat immaterial. He's got to land the ball. The nice thing about this is that he will be having a more aggressive swing, and he might put a little more spin on it if you could put any spin on the ball around these greens, which players have not had much success doing.
Rich, he carries 4 wedges, and his caddy said he uses a lot of the 58 degree around the hole, but for these longer bunker shots, he uses the 50 or 54.
Well, this would be an ideal time to use the 50, come out a little bit lower, and run out for him ever so much.
Yeah, he can play this a little short left and allow for release. Everything releases back and to the right. Got that heavy? Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty funny there. He hit the same exact shot yesterday from that same bunker.
Take another look at this one. It's a hard shot to begin with, Kay, but a little bit of an uphill lie and 58 yards, as Rich Beam said. Very tough shot.
I mean, there's 3 things that can happen. You can hit it thin and sky it over the green, or catch it heavy like this one and come up short, or nip it perfectly and get it on somewhere 20, 25 feet away.
So this is now the situation that Val was alluding to for Davis Riley, where he must expect for his opponent, Scotty Scheffler, to hold his putt.
Yeah, but this is going to be a tough call to hold this one from this distance. Rich, this hole is 31 paces on, so this is a 93 footer.
That sounds about right. It looks about right, and it is just a wicked green here. He can play it way left and have it swing down, but I tell you, I'm looking at this, and he'll be hard pressed to get this within about 5 feet.
Well, let's just say this is probably not a left edge firm putt, Rich.
No, probably fair to say it's not left edge and firm, unless you're going to lay the flag stick right behind the hole.
Yeah, he's going to play, 8 feet or so of break left to right, and his goal right now is cozy this up close and force his opponent to have to make the putt to win the hole.
Pretty good effort there for Davis Riley, but it's going to come up outside of the coin of his opponent, which means he is still away, and he will play the next shot. So Davis Riley, who looked to be in command at 2 up and have the advantage on this 10th hole, all of a sudden is looking at potentially losing the hole.
He's hit this will be his 3rd straight shot in a row, so yeah, I mean, kind of out of sorts right now and hoping for the best, that's for sure.
You never want to be hitting 3 shots in a row in match play. And I would think, Rich, sometimes when you're playing consecutive shots like this, your tendency is, well, you don't want to go too slow, but at the same time, obviously, you don't want to change your normal routine. But it's hard playing consecutive shots like this.
It sure is. And you're exactly right. He's been keeping the same pace between each shot, but you can kind of see he's walking almost knowing he's going to concede this hole. His body language is not very good right now.
This should be a outside left edge hole. Putt.
Smashed it right through the break. So this hole is conceded, and Scotty Scheffler cuts into the margin. He is now just 1 down. He can practice putt if he wants. David, tell us about this situation here.
Well, practice between play of holes is permitted by the rules of golf. By local rule, if the committee wants to prevent it, they may. but in our championships we choose not to do that. You'll see on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, where they do prohibit practice on or near the putting green of the hole just completed between the play of holes.
So they will head over to the par 3 11th.
Par 4.
Excuse me, the par 4 11th. And welcome back in, Steve Burkowski.
Thank you so much, Mark. 504 yards. This hole in the morning was won by Davis Riley as he made par. Scotty Scheffler made bogey.
This is a tough par 4. At the beginning of the week, this ranked the hardest hole, and today's hole location is up on a tiny little perch on the back right. It's a big dog leg left.
It's a great looking tee shot because if you want to take it over the bunker, it depends how aggressive you'd like to get, and if you hit it straight, you can hit it through the fairway into the rough on the other side.
Yeah, there are 6 tee boxes on this tee, and they are using the very back tee.
Well, and he has decided to hit 3-wood for the very reason that you can run it through the fairway here. Players here yesterday had 5 and 6 irons into this hole, hitting drivers and 3-woods off the tee, so these boys are long.
I like this play.
Huge turning point for him on the last hole. In his semi-final match, he made 6 birdies and an eagle, and he just hasn't been able to find that magic today, but it could start here.
It's a wonderful tee shot there by Scotty.
Well, he's fortunate that he was able to quickly get back the unforced error he made at the 9th.
So now Riley next to go, driver in hand, Rich.
Yes, he does. I like this play. I think it kind of takes a statement and says, hey, I'm hitting the ball well. That last hole was kind of a fluke that I lost it. Let's get back onto the winning ways.
Holds his finish pretty much every time. That's an indicator he hit it how he liked it.
That was a beautiful tee shot right there. On the right-hand side of the fairway, and have a fantastic look at the flagstick.
It has been quite a week here at Martis Camp for these players. Everybody in total awe of this phenomenal place. And it is an endurance test. Lots of golf, Kay.
It is. It's a daunting task when you think about it before you even teed up in round 1. But what you have to do is take each day one at a time. So 36 holes of stroke play determine the top 64 players that then meet up in match play. And you have 2 double day of matches and then the championship 36 holes. So David, basically 9 rounds of golf. And what year did this boys junior go from an 18-hole final to a 36-hole? I think it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. They did, for both the girls and the boys, they decided that it was in 2005. I'm being told that they decided that these youngsters could handle 36-hole final.
36-hole final. How about 36 holes Thursday, 36 holes Friday, 36 holes Saturday? That's 3 days in a row.
Whew.
And you take a look at the qualifying rounds where we had the entire field here at the beginning of this week. 113 college coaches were on site. And we talked about the verbal commitments for Riley to Alabama and Scheffler to the University of Texas. It is a very interesting dynamic that I think a lot of people at home might not be aware of. The quick Cliff Notes version, September 1st, junior year of high school, email, written communication can start between a player, a prospective player, and a coach. July 1st, after the junior year, heading into your senior year of high school, is the first time you can talk face-to-face off campus. If you're a 2014 graduate of high school, 3 times can a coach talk to a player or parent, and they can only talk to the player after they are eliminated from the championship. Eventually, the second week of November of the senior year, these players can sign their commitment letters. And once you do that, all bets are off. You can communicate, and then you can make official or unofficial visits to campus, and you can talk as much as you want there. And if you're younger than 2014, 15, 16, and beyond, nothing more than a hello in passing. You cannot stop and do anything else.
So let me
Is that
get
enough
this
for you?
straight. Yeah, let me get this
That's
straight.
the Cliff
Steve.
Notes
Yes.
version?
There were college coaches here that could talk to some of the players but actually could not talk to other players. So you have to be very careful.
Exactly. You have to be very careful. And the reason many of these coaches are here, because they said this process is being, sped up. These kids are taking official or unofficial visits earlier, making commitments earlier. So they said at the very least they need to be seen. Might not be heard, because these kids are taking it to the next level. And if the coaches aren't in sight or aren't showing some type of interest, they could be gone by the wayside before they even know it. So we head back out to the action. That's a lot to digest, but I think a lot of people at home aren't aware.
Were you recruited like that?
I was
not
at all.
No.
I actually didn't start playing in junior golf until I was 15, so I was late bloomer. I walked on the team at UCLA. And I'm really almost glad I didn't have to go through all this. It's quite mind-boggling.
It is, and it's a self-monitoring, process. And yeah, I think other coaches might keep an eye on some others, but it is an interesting process, to say the least. And again, 113 coaches here to begin the week. Now back out to the action here at the 11th. Scheffler will be first to play his second.
213 yards back, right hole location. Many championship hole locations today, as it should be.
Is that wind still helping us?
Yep.
Scotty has pulled a 6-iron.
Val, the hole is about 5 paces past a little ridge. It's 22, 23 paces to get up on that ridge. It's going to be hard to be that pinpoint accurate.
Easy little breeze behind him might make all the difference. Looks good.
Oh, what a shot.
Getting better and better.
That was phenomenal. With a 6-iron in your hand?
So Scheffler maybe inside just 20 feet. He'll have that for birdie. Now the pressure on Riley, and it's match play. Sometimes you can make a statement with the tee shot and be the first to hit your approach on the green.
Exactly. He's got 195 yards, a little hanging lie ball above his feet. Ball would tend to want to draw off this line.
He's gripping down on that iron. He gripped down too much on it. That
comes up well short, Kay.
Well, it's hard. I don't know that he missed it that badly, but that was almost a club and a half off.
So advantage Scheffler here at the 11th. And as I tried to give an explanation to everyone at home how this whole recruiting process and making commitments to colleges go for everyone, we talked to the 2 finalists to get their thoughts on the matter.
Austin's just a really good spot. It's decently close to home. And I like the people there. The coaches are great. The guys on the team are good.
I just kind of knew where I wanted to go. The coaching staff and everybody around there is so great, So I felt like that was the place I needed to go. Why wait, I guess.
So Davis Riley with the verbal commitment to the University of Alabama class of 2015. Scotty Scheffler verbally committed to Texas class of 2014.
Both kind of staying relatively close to home.
Yes.
Alabama's not that far from Hattiesburg, which is kind of in the southern portion of Mississippi. And Scotty from the Dallas area, he wants to be close to his teacher, who's in the Dallas area, and his family.
Yeah, Davis's mother, an Alabama graduate. His father went to Ole Miss. They're actually very good family friends of Ray Perkins, former Alabama coach who played under Bear Bryant and did some time in the NFL. So let me tell you, 2 of the top programs right now, the last 2 national champions, Texas in 2012, Alabama just a couple of months ago. So the best schools in the country appear to be getting 2 good ones.
I've often wondered, Steve, about these early commitments and what the real advantage might be for a player to do that. And I guess my question is there a danger that if they don't accept a scholarship and make a verbal commitment that scholarship won't be there at some point?
That's a very legitimate question. Again, the scholarship doesn't become official until the signature is on the paper, the November of their senior year of high school. But I think, as some coaches told me, they have taken the process, these junior golfers, to a quicker level. They can reach out, they can take visits. So yes, I think if you don't sort of say, hey, I'm coming your way, make sure, hopefully make sure you get some money earmarked for me. But it doesn't always work out. Not a lot of people remember Ricky Fowler verbally committed to UCLA. He ended up at Oklahoma State, so things always do change.
All right, Davis Riley now, 3rd shot here.
Has a little bit of humps and bumps to utilize. There is a hump in front of the green, which will help slow the golf ball down, but he doesn't necessarily have to land this on the green. It should hop forward for him.
Should move a little right to left as it gets up there.
Awfully well done by Davis Riley.
Well, I tell you, that's a statement right there saying I can make a mistake and recover.
I think it was an important statement there after giving up one, as we see Davis's mother there, again, an Alabama graduate.
That's Kim. His dad's name is David.
Taking down some notes, making sure the scores are right.
I saw her out earlier, and she lags way behind, kind of keeps her distance, and probably writes the scores down. My mom used to do the same thing. A way to stay occupied, like at a baseball game, doing your own scoring.
So great opportunity here for Scotty Scheffler. Wonderful approach here at the 11th. This for birdie to win back-to-back holes and square the match.
And speaking of support out here on the golf course, Scott Scheffler and Molly, Scotty's sister, 13-year-old, that is her brother's biggest fan, says that what makes him cool is that he just lets her hang out with him whenever she wants.
That's so nice.
His father couldn't be prouder, but he says he's most proud of what a balanced young man he is, and golf's part of his life, but not all of his life.
Both these finalists have that in common. They each have 3 sisters.
This is going to be just a little bit downhill, not a ton of movement.
You called it, Val. That he might have thought that went a little right to left and stayed pretty straight.
That's good. So the par conceded to Scotty Scheffler, but a great opportunity missed. So Riley now with a little bit of work to try to have the hole with his par. Now the family affair for the Riley family.
Yeah, they got to be so proud. See their son in the final.
So this now for par to have the hole and remain 1 up.
And not a whole lot to this putt. These greens, like I said, they say 12, but they're more like 13 and 14. He literally just has to kind of get this thing started and catch the right line. Really not much to it.
Good up and down by Davis Riley, remaining 1 up in this championship match.
Clutch putt for Davis Riley. He has never trailed in this match, but his margin is just 1 up. It's a close one when we come back to Martis Camp. Welcome back to the 30th hole of the championship match at the U.S. Junior Amateur Championship. The Martis Camp Club just outside Truckee, California. Wonderful Tom Fazio design. And we got a couple of gladiators going at it out there. You can see Davis Riley with the 1-up lead at the 12th tee, the 30th hole. This was Scotty Scheffler, who has the honor right now by virtue of cutting into that 2-up lead and getting it to 1-up. 3 wood for Scheffler.
And that bunker that he's aimed at there is 313 yards, but if it bounces gently, he'll be perfect.
Which it did, Val. Good call there. Nice spot there for Scheffler. And he was followed by Riley with what appeared to be the same club also.
Yes, a 3-wood aiming down the right-hand side. Try to utilize the slope of the fairway.
Friendly bounce there. Another one for Davis Riley. That one kicked left. Take a look at the 12th hole here at Martis Camp. It's a beauty, just like all the rest of them. Wonderful bunkering here by Tom Fazio.
And another cute little hole location that's up on a high part of the green, the left side of the green.
Yesterday in the quarterfinal match, let's take a look at what Davis Riley did here at the 12th.
He was a little in between hitting a hard wedge or an easy 9, went with the easy 9.
148-yard shot.
Be the number.
Be the number. One
Beautiful.
bounce in.
It's in. Went in. Yes.
Oh, what a thrill.
Caddy Binky probably more excited than Davis Riley. He would love to duplicate that today. Scotty Scheffler wouldn't want to see something like that happen.
No.
So what's the mentality now, Val? Scotty Scheffler has trailed pretty much the whole match, but he's just one down. Does he feel fortunate, or does he feel like he ought to be ahead, do you think?
I think he's trying to figure out how to pull his best out. You know, he has a pretty deep tolerance for competition and bouncing around. And, you know, he's not a player that gets down on himself. His father just described him as just a healthy thinker and you know, had a great mental approach to the game. He's a good strategist. And so right now, I think that's what he's trying to do. What can I do just a little bit better to turn up the heat?
Yeah, he may feel somewhat fortunate, Val, if he doesn't think he's had his best stuff yet. He's only one down pretty much still in this match.
He's coming off great play from yesterday's match. A lot of birdies and an eagle and just, you know, but he's been a little streaky.
4 for the downhill. 38 pin, is that actual or are you talking about middle?
Actual.
Davis Riley, it appears, is away, and he'll be first, Rich.
Got about 4 for the down. And about 6 for the win, man. 28. 28 to 32. I know what we did earlier. We either hit the knockdown pitching wedge or it's a full 50 now.
Yeah, I either knocked down 135. This is 135 right here. So it's either knockdown 50 or full 54. Which I think there's no way this can go long.
No, I like that.
If I hit about 130 shot.
Get most of it. Aim left of the edge, go straight center.
Okay.
Binky always has, Rich Binky has a lot of information, but ultimately it's up to the player to choose the shot.
Exactly. It's whatever the player's comfortable with right now, and it's kind of an interesting looking hole location. It's like almost like an infinite edge. The green really drops off severely just past the hole.
Oh, that's a nice play right there. Very safe shot. You cannot go long or left here.
Yes.
Scotty Scheffler next.
124 yards. Needs to float this wedge. He has just a little bit of breeze helping. If he's going to take on a flag stick, his spin has to be really controlled here.
That it was.
Go, Scotty.
Two very similar shots.
There's Riley and Binky. We've heard a lot from that man Binky right there, affectionately known as Binky. And earlier we asked Davis Riley about Binky.
You know, I had a caddy, his name is Jay, during stroke play, and he had to go, so I got a new caddy. His name is Bingy. He's a really good guy. He knows the course really well. He's been out here since day one the course is open, so he knows what he's talking about.
He's seen a lot, heard a lot, knows a lot. There's a lot of, quote, Binkyisms, apparently, that have been generated through the years.
I think if you looked in the dictionary right now under the word enthusiastic, you might see a picture of him right there.
Yep. I'll give it to him. Like I said, I took him out when I went and had a preview of the golf course, and my yardage book is full of his advice. We went back to every tee, and he told me what the angle, the line, if they used this tee or if they went up another tee. He was excellent.
I kind of like it because every great caddy has got a cool nickname, and he's got a cool nickname.
You only know their real names when you have to write them a check.
That's exactly right. There's been many times where I've hired a caddy and I just used his nickname and just said, hey, listen, by the way, what's your name so I could fill out this check?
Well, certainly these players don't have to worry about writing big checks yet, although I would think Binky will end up with something after this week is over.
This, you know, I don't know, Val and Rich, if you could look back on your years when you played junior and amateur and college golf, those are probably some of your best years when you're playing just for the trophy and for the sheer enjoyment of it.
Without a doubt. I always miss college most days, but yeah, that was always a lot of fun. It was pure golf. It was pure fun, and you just didn't have a care in the world.
Well, and I think too, Kay, it's the learning curve that you're on at that time in your life that just everything's so interesting. And, you know, if we can keep golf that interesting without making it too hard as we work at it for a living, it makes a big difference.
I will say one thing, though. This learning curve that you're talking about, Val, has really changed over the years because these players are bigger, they're more talented, they're stronger, they're smarter, they've had better instruction. They are just more ready all around to be terrific players than certainly when I was playing junior golf.
Everything's much more sophisticated at a higher level sooner. Boy, that didn't break an inch, did it?
Oh, if anything, it wandered a little bit left at the hole.
He thought it would peel a little right, and it never did.
Take a look at Davis's reaction right here. Looks pretty good. Oh, you're kidding me.
Where's that move to the right? No, it didn't ever happen. You can't be mad with a putt like that, though. He hit it where he wanted to, and you just misread it.
So now Scheffler with putt to square the match again, Val.
This is his strength, and it hasn't really shown up for him today. And, you know, he's just been waiting for it. He got lucky there to be able to ride the school bus and catch a read off of Davis's putt, and seems as though it's time.
Broke all the way across the hole. He can't believe it. Not at all what Davis Riley's putt did.
Mr. Riley 4, Mr. Scheffler 4, Mr.
So
Riley
the hole
1 up.
is halved in fours, and
He's going to have another look at this one.
yes, he is. Let's try this again. Something malfunctioned here. Are you kidding me? Davis's didn't break at all. Mine broke all the way across the hole. And they will head over to the 13th tee and take a look at what the champion receives, the gold medal, and obviously the custody of the Junior Amateur Championship trophy for a year.
It's nice that they're exempt from qualifying for the next two amateurs, and also exempt from local qualifying for the Open, which is huge.
Yeah,
Especially for these guys,
down
they're going to stay out. These two are going to be an amateur for several more years, so they can sort of reap the benefits of these gifts.
There's the whole location at the 13th, a downhill tee shot, an uphill second.
Yeah, and another cute hole location all the way at the back, just over a little bit of a ridge.
In this morning's 18, Davis Riley with a birdie 3, so he was able to win this hole about 5 or 6 hours ago.
Looks as though Scotty is going to go with the driver. The wind is back into their face here, which makes me believe that this play could be okay. It's 342 to hit it through at the end of this fairway, and it does play downhill.
Generally, the wind picks up out of the west in the afternoon here at Martis Camp. Boy, did it look like he was trying to hit a little low, kind of a stinger shot.
He has positioned it really, really well for his second. He's going to like it.
That goes all the way, rolls out almost to the end of the fairway.
So an aggressive play there by Scheffler appears to have paid off. Now we'll see what Davis Riley does.
Yeah, they're chatting about it. They're a little uncertain on what club to go with. Looks like he will go with the fairway metal, just in order to keep it short of that ravine down there.
Rich, it's kind of a trade-off here because you'd love to get it down as far as you can to have the least amount of club in, but last thing you want to do is hit it into trouble because you hit it too pure.
That's exactly correct. He's hitting it so good. He can hit that low little stinger with this fairway metal, so we'll see what kind of shot he plays here.
Very good.
Well, they liked it off the tee, and a couple of tee shots in the fairway here at the par 4 13th, 31st hole of the championship. Davis Riley a 1-up lead over Scotty Scheffler. We're back with their seconds to the 13th right after this. Back at Martis Camp, the 66 U.S. Junior Amateur Championship match. Scotty Scheffler, Davis Riley playing for this, and it has been a sensational championship day. Riley 1-up in this match as he laid up off the tee with a fairway medal, so he will be the first to hit his approach into 13, an uphill second shot.
Playing for that trophy and for a USGA championship, something they can carry with them for the rest of their lives.
He's got 179 yards, and I tell you, this is actually a very cool looking hole position. You've got, looks like it sweeps left from the left and both the right, so it looks like a very inviting hole location.
Yeah, there's a big mound that kind of guards it.
Like 180, we need to hit 180, wind.
787, 182. Breeze in the face, almost 190. There. I don't know if you can knock it down at all.
Yeah. It plays, the wind is a lot stronger up there.
A little bit. You see the flag? It's pretty calm.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that cove. The trees protect it really. It's not the 8. The 8's too short.
Yeah. I like this.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a mound that's protecting the front of the green that's 20, 21 paces on, and then the hole is another 4 paces past that. And they can play it. He can play it a little right, and it'll move down to the left. Just love his balance that he has at the end of the swing. Oh, just too much.
Just about a yard or two off the green, but a pretty good looking shot that could have gotten really good, Kay.
If that had come up a little short, it would have curled back.
Now Scheffler getting ready for his second.
Here's that mound right here, and everything feeds down this way, and everything feeds down back behind as well.
Now this is interesting from Scheffler's perspective. He heard claps and doesn't realize where Davis's ball is and has switched clubs. I don't know if it was related, but that is a 9-iron from 124, and he tried to hit it pretty hard. Might have pulled it just a bit, actually quite a bit.
Oh yeah, and that pull gave it extra distance.
So both players just over the green.
You could tell that he didn't hit that the way he wanted to. Shut that face down a little bit. Gave the shot probably 5 more yards than he wanted. He really has a nice, Davis Riley has a nice setup. Great posture. Hands hanging down, his hands right beneath his chin. Nice turn with the arms going back together. And good setup, probably maybe a tendency to get the club laid off just a teeny bit at the top. And coming down to impact, stays right behind it. Look at that extension with his arms fully extended, yet his upper body is square to the target line. And then he is in control, and he has great sequence in his swing, and you can tell because he finishes fully balanced. He's never on his toes or his heels, and it's almost like you could go up and shove him and he wouldn't budge.
Well, Davis working with Rob Noel out of Slidell, Louisiana. Obviously some very good results this week for the hard work they put in.
Yeah, he just has a tendency sometimes to get a little quick, and a lot of players can lose a little bit of their rhythm.
Now, Kay, it's interesting. It's been a long day of golf, a long week of golf, a very competitive championship match. How aware are these two of what their opponents are doing, where they stand, how many holes remain?
That's an interesting question, because I think each individual handles that differently. Personally, I did not look at the scoreboard. I stayed totally focused on one hole at a time. Yes, you have a general sense of whether you're up or down in a match. These two might be completely conscious of everything. So that's very, very much up to the individual. Any sense, Rich or Val down there, of what they're feeling or thinking?
Can you bring the bag?
Not from my perspective. They're both actually pretty. They look both pretty laid back.
I think with this tight a match, I'm sure they both know exactly where they stand. When you tend to get 5 or 6 up in a match, it's easier to kind of lose your sense of precisely where you are.
Well, we've seen that plenty of times throughout our USGA championship coverage of a match is over and they start walking to the next tee, not fully aware, but these two certainly engaged in what's going on here.
Well, if you want to know how patient Scotty Scheffler is, his caddy Dave, who's 73, is on, how many holes today and all through the week, and he's a little bit worn out, and Scott has had to wait on him a few times here on this backside to catch up, and particularly if he wanted to change a club, and he just smiles and winks at him, and they both kind of giggle, and off they go.
Yeah, it's a lot to ask of Dave Harmon. Walking this golf course is very taxing. Doing it twice in a day.
And particularly with the altitude. Now this lie here is pretty clean. It is going to come quickly off the slope and then flatten out as it gets to the hole.
Yeah, overall.
He has a better lie than Davis.
Little left to right movement.
Hit that just a little heavy.
Not a bad effort, though, from Scheffler. About 3.5 feet remaining for his par, so we'll see what Davis Riley can now do with his third from just off the green.
Not a very good lie at all. Interesting, he's got a putter in his hand, and literally he just has to get it to the short side because it's extremely fast, straight downhill.
Just nudged it to get it off that fringe, and look how it speeds up. Wow.
Wasted a little time there, and it was almost like that was the safest, smartest play there, Kay, with what he had to deal with.
It was, and he has a mallet-headed putter, which has a little more mass to it. Was able to hit it fairly solidly without too much grass getting in the way, and then the grass looked like it was kind of going with the shot.
So a couple of pars upcoming here. Scheffler will be first to go.
And this is right in that range where it's easy to second guess your read and all those pieces of needing to make a putt like this when so much is on the line.
This is where you have to trust all the putts you've had all week long.
Nice 4 there by Scotty Scheffler. And he will quickly give the putter to the caddy, and now Davis Riley with a little bit of work for his par to have the hole and remain 1 up.
Yeah, not much work here at all, though. Just straight up the hill and just has to make a confident stroke.
Oh, he just shoved it a little. Goodness.
That was not a confident stroke.
No, it sure wasn't.
So a bogey for Riley at the 31st this championship match, all square. And it was just, as you said, Kay, a little tentative with that stroke and maybe just left the blade open ever so slightly.
So as they head over to the 14th tee, we'll remind you that USGA website, usga.org, is a really good one if you want to find out anything about this championship or any of the other USGA championships. Log on to usga.org. All square this championship match now. Davis Riley, Scotty Scheffler have been battling it out all day here at Martis Camp.
And they're going to the 14th hole, a hole that Scotty Scheffler had the upper hand on this morning, made a birdie to win this hole. It is playing 159 yards, and it is a really cool hole location, just 3 paces off the right and only 3 paces behind. So just stuck back up there in a little corner on the top of a small plateau.
Now, I'm been interested to hear, Rich Beam, what you think the demeanor of Davis Riley is as he walked up to that 14th tee.
It's got to be somewhat shocked, I think would be a good word for it. It was completely unexpected. He had made so many good putts today and throughout this championship that a little easy putt like that, he really just flat out shoved it, and that might be a case of the nerves.
It'd be very interesting to see how he responds. So much easier to handle a bigger a mistake that you hit it into the rough, or you didn't get it up and down out of a tough lie, but that was a hard one.
Exactly. It's just a hard pill to swallow, knowing that you messed up something that was pretty simple.
And Val, Scotty Scheffler now on the tee. He will not surrender his honor if he doesn't lose any more holes, and that's a nice place to be right now, isn't it?
It sure is, and he just has a wedge back to this right-hand hole location, so that's going to be an advantage to try to utilize that slope that's right in front of it and get enough spin on it to just sneak it up that hill.
Both players came up short here earlier, and he made about a 30-footer.
I don't know if that was struck as clean, but boy, got a lucky break there. And, Mark, I think Davis was a little surprised that Scotty made him putt that putt. I think that was all about not expecting it.
It could be true.
Well, it was a good bounce there for Scotty Scheffler, but I'm not sure he's going to like the lie when he sees it right up against that intermediate rough. Now time for Riley to hit a good shot.
He's going with wedge.
Yeah, he hit a 9-iron here this morning. Looked like a good swing, twirl of the club.
Oh my God.
Oh, cannot believe that ball checks up. He thought it would pitch forward. It's amazing how when things start going the opposite direction.
Yeah, he's a little disappointed right now, and he has to tell himself, you hit it exactly how you wanted it. Look at him pose, and then the twirl.
Really likes it right there.
And that's where you could have an internal battle with yourself, and you can't let the negative overtake the positive that you just had.
Let's take a look at the roster of USGA championships in the state of California. There are a bunch of them. 71 in all USGA championships. 10 times the U.S. Junior Amateur has been here. And, of course, the last one was the girls' junior at Lake Merced over in Daly City.
And the last boys' junior in California was in 2006 down in Southern California at Rancho Santa Fe. Philip Francis won that one.
No state in the union has as much diversity in its golf as the state of California does. Of course, Monterey Peninsula, Pebble Beach, those classic courses there. And down in LA, lots of really good things going on. LA North has been renovated down there, and Riviera, the stalwart down there. But of course, the Olympic Club hosted the U.S. Open last year here in Northern California.
That's right. And as I mentioned, I think Cordoval is going to have the Women's Open in a couple years. First time the Women's Open will have been back in Northern California since the early 80s.
And there is Scotty Scheffler now examining his situation. He is going to be closer to the hole than Davis Riley, which means Riley will play first. But it does not appear to be a very good situation there for Scheffler.
All right.
And I would think, Rich Bean, this is a really good time for Davis to think about holing a putt. There's the live Scheffler first.
Fantastic time for him to hole a putt. I also think that he's got to be a little cautious with this, because the second half of this putt really does run away from him.
Yeah, the first part's uphill, Rich, correct? So he's got to hit it, a little firmly at the start to get up that little rise. But as you said, then it'll kind of take off. Right about where he's standing, right there is where the top of that rise is.
Exactly, and it's funny you say hit it firm. That's one word that does not come to my mind when looking at these greens, as they are so fast.
Here's the top of that rise, and it'll go a little right to left as it makes its way up there.
Rich, you can't see the screen that the viewers are seeing, but from up above this 14th green, this one is getting what we call a championship sheen. That is championship-looking material right there.
And I have been fortunate enough to play in enough U.S. Opens to know what you're talking about. They're really not greens anymore. They're almost browns, it looks like.
Stress them to the max, right?
Yeah, but they are pure right now.
Carrying just a little too much pace. Not the time to do that. That's exactly what Rich was talking about.
And that leaves him with another little nervy length putt.
So the situation now has changed for Scotty Scheffler, and have you had a chance to look at the lie, Val? Is it really bad or not too bad at all?
No, not bad at all. It's very makeable, actually. It's going to be maybe a little bit quick. He's going to have to decide how much to pop it, you know, from the lie, but the grass behind the ball is thin and not very long, and might have just a little right turn in it, but
I like that read, Val. Probably a left edge putt.
Go in.
What? Birdies this 14th for the second time today. And that to go up for the first time today.
And all the momentum has now shifted and lies with Scotty Scheffler. Great contact, just a little bit of a hump coming off the apron. Ball rolls, turns over beautifully. Scotty Scheffler is now 1 up.
Just a moment ago at the par 5 15th, 33rd hole of this championship match, Scotty Scheffler.
248 yards is going to carry the bunkers on the left, and there's a little speed slot out there, and that is a good line.
Boy, if you can be brave and hug down that left side a little more. Great drive.
Now live with Davis Riley, down for the first time in this match all day.
Very uncomfortable position for him to be in right now.
Thank you. It's a pretty aggressive swing and a pretty good result.
Oops, pardon.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights from this championship match, beginning with the 12th hole of the day. At this point, Riley was 2 up. Second shot for Scotty Scheffler. Needed to make a birdie to win the hole, and he hits a beauty.
Yeah, he sure did. He brought that in a little right to left, short wedge.
Then at the very next, the 13th, Riley with his approach at the par 4. So the back and forth portion of this championship match, he'd go on to make birdie, go back to 2 up.
This is the birdie that Kay Cockrell alluded to earlier. A wonderful 2 for Scheffler at the short 14th. Big break to the left. Turns right into the hole. Up at 18, Riley had driven the ball in the bunker. This is Scheffler's second shot.
And that was a 5-iron, if you can believe it, from 210 yards. Hit it, made it look like it was more like a 9-iron, dropping it in softly, using that slope. Gave the crowd a thrill.
So Riley needed an answer with a shot that was actually harder than Scheffler's from the bunker. You could hear the sound, a nice clean strike.
That was a grip 6-iron.
Had lots of spin on it. They both birdied that hole, so they had the hole. So Riley was 1 up. And then Riley needed this putt to remain 1 up at the 20th hole, long par putt.
Probably felt more like a birdie to him at that time.
Then a 23rd hole, third shot for Scheffler.
Pretty good place to leave it. Pretty dead straight in.
So that would score the match at least momentarily.
24th hole now, Riley. This for a par to win the hole. Good stroke there. Everything looks fine at this point.
Then at the 27th, short one for Scheffler for his par. Par 4 9th, and aggressive with the first, errant with the second. So he would quickly drop to 2 down.
But at the 28th hole, Scheffler would bounce back. The par 5, long par 5.
You know your
third shot.
You know you're going to make some mistakes. You just don't want to lose too many holes in a row, and he stops the bleeding quickly here.
Then this at the 31st, Riley, short one for par to remain 1 up, and he pushed it ever so slightly. So match all square, but not for long, Mark.
No. Scheffler takes advantage of the situation. The momentum has turned 180 degrees. This for a 2. And so he plays that 14th hole in a total of 4 strokes in the championship match.
And what, for the first time in 8 hours or so, 7.5 to 8 hours, he's up in the match.
This is the 66 U.S. Junior Amateur Championship, the Martis Camp Club in Truckee, California. And you can see Scotty Scheffler now 1-up lead. Both these players birdied this hole this morning, halved it with 4s. And it looks as Riley will be first to go with his second.
He will be. He's got 267 yards, and yeah, what a different position, different mindset actually now for both of these players. Riley being 2 up, and all of a sudden faces, you know, he's got to win a hole here pretty quick. Just hits a low bullet up the left-hand side.
Get up there. Look out.
Well, that's a pretty good looking shot right there. Gets it up where it's almost, well, just a little bit past hole high.
So it looks like it just stayed on the back portion of the green. And a swing of a young man you like a lot, Kay.
I do. Great acceleration through, yet a controlled finish. Caught that one, you know, hit a nice little low heater, and it worked out.
And let's see if Scheffler has an answer.
256, and he needs to hit that same bullet back into the breeze right at the center of the front of the green and let it release back there. The ball will kick left or hang too far right if you take it off of that center line.
That looked like he had some great tempo with that swing. Cut it in there a little bit. Oh my goodness. Is he pulling off some shots of late? Val, you described it. It was like he was hanging in there waiting for something to happen, and he just put it into another gear in the last half hour.
Yep, pretty impressive shot there by Scotty Scheffler.
I mean, that was a thing of beauty.
So Davis Riley 1 down in this championship match. Hadn't trailed until the semifinal match on the very 3rd hole. Work to do here at Martis Camp. Scotty Scheffler walking to the green at the par 5 15th, the 33rd hole of this championship match. And just moments ago, perhaps hit the shot of this championship, his second from 256 yards. And Kay, it was a beauty.
Going with a hybrid, has a little bit of a hook lie, hit a slight cut to hold it against that right to left movement. I mean, if this thing doesn't get up there, it rolls all the way back down to towards the front of the green. He could not have asked it to hit it any better. Phenomenal. I mean, this thing lands probably 10 yards short. And he has a relatively easy putt from there for eagle.
That is a big time shot by a very impressive junior golfer at perhaps one of the most important times of this championship match. Now the pressure squarely on Davis Riley. He has seen his lead disappear, trailing for the first time in this championship match. Have to go back to the 3rd hole of the semifinal match since he was last behind, and we've seen Binky get involved, and I think this might be a very important juncture to let it all play out and see what happens.
Rich, his head must be spinning right now.
Well, if it's not spinning, it's certainly swiveling, that's for certain. This is actually a very, it's a really tough putt to read because it's got a huge swing coming off that hill, and you just don't know if it'll flatten out up on top or if it'll continue to break to the right.
I think it's going to continue breaking to the right. So
that's what I kind of saw as well, and just speed obviously is always important, but I think in this instance your line is fairly critical.
So this for eagle for Davis Riley.
He had a pretty good line, but way off on the speed.
That one got away from him and still might be away.
He's been reeling in the last half hour. He had total control and composure, and when he missed that short putt at the 13th, everything flipped immediately.
The interaction between Binky and Riley has actually changed quite a bit too. They haven't been chattering as much. and it's been pretty noticeable the last couple of holes.
Well, when you have an over-exuberant caddy who's kind of emotional, he could maybe be feeling the emotions too much, and maybe Davis Riley's sensing that a little bit. Right now, they're both.
Well, he's
they're both
probably
gripping.
yeah, he's a bit of shock as well, and it's worked for so many holes this week, and certainly Davis smart enough to know that, but this is virtually a must-make putt. This for birdie, I mean, doesn't go in, you most likely concede the eagle to Scheffler, then you're in big-time trouble.
Get in.
Oh, that hurt. You could tell how much he wanted that, needed it, and he was denied.
So
that was cruel.
A 3-putt par for Riley. Now Scheffler just inside of 8-9 feet for eagle, and I think Davis obviously in trouble, but has to compose himself. Still golf to be played.
Well, and I think he can learn a lot in looking back on the holes that watching Scheffler cruise along, be patient, keep himself in it. And here he is.
Scheffler misses that. Well, it's not much left. I think Davis is going to make him putt it out.
It's understandable. This is a tricky hole location. It's on a bit of a tilt there, so.
So a 2-putt birdie at the 15th. Scotty Scheffler now 2 up in this championship match. They head to the 34th here at Martis Camp.
Welcome back. This is live at the 34th tee. Davis Riley, who is now 2 down in the match, has a driver at the short par 4 16th.
And he has got to make something happen in a hurry. And this club can certainly do that. Reachable par 4 here.
He hit a 3-wood here earlier this morning, and it didn't quite get to the green and rolled all the way down to the left, and he doesn't like this one. That's just about where he ended up with the 3-wood earlier today. Very difficult shot from there.
Well, I mentioned before how important it was to have the honor on the tee. Scotty Scheffler had it, and he chose an iron, Val.
Yeah, there's a bunker in play right down the dead center of the fairway. He is going to make Davis come to him and play the smart shot, with the hole location being so difficult. If you try to hit it close, you can't afford to miss it left at all.
Yeah, he played an iron shot there this morning. It's the way he likes to play this hole.
Scotty Scheffler has won the last 3 holes, but that was the big miss putt for Davis Riley.
That was a gift. And then he took advantage of an aggressive tee shot.
Go in! Yeah!
Par 3 14.
And then just a moment ago, the shot of the championship for Scotty Scheffler.
This is just darn near perfection. With a hybrid from 256 yards.
Perfect distance control. He hit it 255.5 yards. Missed it by 8 feet to the left, and now Scotty Scheffler actually has a chance to win the match if he could win this hole.
For 3/4 of this match, Davis Riley has had control, but ever since they made the turn going into this back 9, Scotty Scheffler has made 3 birdies to Davis Riley's 2 bogeys.
Val, I think it says a lot about Scotty Scheffler that he was behind for so long, but never gave up, just sort of hung in there, and that really says a lot about a player, I think.
I think he was forced to be in that position because it was after 6 holes this morning that he found himself 3 down.
Look at all those holes where he was trailing. He got it to all square at the 23rd hole, went and lost the next hole, and he was looking up at Davis Riley the whole time.
It's as if he was in a created underdog position, and he just had to fight and scratch for everything. And he's going to be first to play, Val.
He is Kay, and he's 67 yards away. Should be able to just hit a little smooth little wedge in there, some kind of
waiting for his
sand
caddy
wedge.
to come up again, right?
That's, here comes David.
Oh, poor old Dave. Got 2 more holes, Dave.
But I think he's actually enjoying, Scotty's enjoying that process and waiting for him. And I think even it might be making him a little bit more patient.
Again, Dave Harmon is from Cool, California. That's about an hour away. He's a volunteer caddy, retired ceramic engineer, having the time of his life.
This is a player that seems, he certainly, you know, has the patience and discipline to wait for his game to come to him if it's not right there. And this shot requires a little extra spin if he can get it off what's a slightly uphill lie to an elevated green. Only 10 paces.
Yeah, he hit a shot long here.
All right, Scott.
And that's not too bad. That's a good lead. That's an easy putt from there. He hit it long and 3-putted this morning. This is a wicked hole location. And Rich, this is not an easy shot at all that Davis Riley's facing.
Not even remotely close to easy. He's got to loft this up extremely high. Just don't see him being able to put a whole lot of spin on this. I just don't see there's any way that he could ever, he'll have a long birdie putt if he doesn't get too careless with this.
He had this similar shot this morning, and he hit it long into the rough beyond, and it was a wicked fast chip down the slope.
Rich, this is sort of like trying to hit a shot up onto the top of your car over the windshield and stopping it up there.
Make that a VW Bug car and you got it perfect.
Doesn't like it.
Boy, he is so out of sorts right now. He is being very negative and very demonstrative in a bad way.
A lot of head hanging. Body language is certainly slumped over as well. Honestly, he didn't have much from down there. That was actually a pretty good play.
Rich, describe this change of momentum that we're seeing.
It's been pretty remarkable. You know, we talked about Scotty just kind of staying patient, and sure enough, the patience paid off. I think after Davis missed that short one on number 13, I think that kind of maybe sparked a few demons in him if he has any, because he certainly hasn't been the same player since then.
Val, I know you've played so much golf, and anyone who's played this game who's had a lead and watches it disappear, it's the worst feeling in the world.
Well, what's hard is it causes that immediate internal questioning, and it distracts you from what you know you need to do. I mean, and every player has a different way of dealing with that. Some players will get angry and they'll force the issue, and they'll get angry and they'll get even. And some players will just kind of get lost in the nervousness of what happened to me. And
I think that's what
Davis
we're seeing.
seems to be a little bit in that space right now.
That's well described.
Almost got to die at the top of the ridge. Leave it.
This now for a birdie 3. Very quick down the hill, leaving the flagstick in.
Oh.
David Stabler, what happened there? It appeared the ball moved.
Well, I heard him say ball moved. He had addressed the ball since he had grounded the club behind the ball, and Rule 18.2b says if you've addressed the ball, after you've addressed the ball, if it moves, you are deemed to have caused it to move. So that would be a one-stroke penalty, and he'd have to replace it. The referee right now, Skip Gist, is going to try to confirm the facts with him,
Okay.
So he is putting the ball back where it was, and that was a one-stroke penalty. So now a birdie putt has turned into a par putt.
My goodness. Things just so quickly go from bad to worse.
All right, now he's tried to put it back twice. It hasn't stayed where it was, so now he's going to put it in the nearest place where it will come to rest, not near the hole.
Trying to understand why he didn't take relief when he might have been entitled to it from the sprinklers. That's typically fairly uneven ground there.
Well, you'd be entitled to relief if you had interference with your lie or your stance or the area of your intended swing, and I guess his feet are just in a position where that you don't quite have any interference, and psychological interference is not considered interference.
So Davis Riley will leave that one just right of the hole. It was a good putt, but unfortunately with the penalty stroke now, he has a putt remaining for a bogey. And I'm wondering, Val, if Scotty really knows what the situation is. Does he know how many strokes that Davis has played?
Let's see if we can see anything here. I couldn't tell from that angle.
Well, Scotty couldn't either. He had to walk over and check with the referee to understand what had happened, and he shook his head, and you could tell that it really bothered him.
So 2 putts now for Scotty to win the championship. That should do it. It is conceded. Cap comes off.
Mr. Riley 5, Mr. Scheffler 4. Mr. Scheffler wins the match.
I feel
3-2.
so sad and sorry for Davis Riley right now. As much as I'm happy for Scotty Scheffler, they both are such wonderful participants. This is gut-wrenching.
Scotty Scheffler is the U.S. Junior Amateur Champion. He defeats Davis Riley 3-2. Just an unbelievable sequence of events over the last hour there for Davis. Binky trying to console him, but it is going to take a while for Davis to get over this.
2013 U.S. Junior
Pretty
Amateur
solemn ending to
champion,
what has been a
Scotty
terrific day,
Scheffler.
really, Kay.
It's so tough because someone has to come away a winner and the other the runner-up, and they both hit so many wonderful shots.
So Scotty Scheffler this morning at the 12th hole. Beautiful wedge shot in. Leaves himself a birdie putt that he would make. Davis Riley then answered right back at 13.
Riley had an early 3-up lead. Scheffler bit into that. And Riley would end up winning that hole, but then bouncing right back the very next hole. Scotty Scheffler hit a beautiful 9-iron.
Beautiful putt here, right through the shadows. Perfect speed, and down she goes. That's a birdie too. You've birdied that hole twice today. Now this at the 18th hole. You remember Riley had driven the ball into the fairway bunker, but this is a great second shot by Scotty.
Yeah, these 2 shots that these guys hit at the 18th were remarkable. Yes, it was a little easier, more generous hole location today at 18, and they took advantage of it.
Davis Riley had to watch that shot before he played his, and then he hits a beauty 6-iron. And look at the spin on this one out of the fairway bunker. They would have that hole with birdies. Then at the 20th hole, this was a huge putt at the time for Riley. This for a par to maintain his advantage in the match. He's 1 up at that point. 23rd hole. How about this shot right here?
Yeah, he left it underneath the hole. Pretty much a dead straight shot, a dead straight in chip. He has shown some remarkable, both of them have shown some remarkable short game.
This now, Riley at the 24th, a good par save there. Then at the 27th, Scheffler with a miss. That an unexpected win for Riley. But Scheffler comes right back, this at the 28th hole.
Yeah, and his opponent was in the bunker with a very difficult 3rd shot. He took advantage of a nice wedge distance and hit a beauty in there.
This is where you could really feel things starting to change. Perhaps the most important putt of the championship match.
A seemingly simple, straightforward par putt, and instead he loses the hole, and that started a terrible trend for Davis Riley.
And Scotty Scheffler with a dagger here then at 14, another 2, his second of the day there.
And you could just sense his strength and confidence growing with every step.
Scotty Scheffler now with a hybrid. Side hill lie, ball above his feet, needs to play a little cut into this par 5 green, 256 yards. What a shot.
He not only executes it perfectly, but he gets a great bounce and the winning putt here.
And that putt would be conceded, and he became the champion at that point. And what a disappointing finish for Davis Riley. Tears in his eyes. Hard to imagine that he is not going to be the champion, and he is not. And let's go down to Steve Burkowski.
Mark, thanks so much. A little bit of business to finalize this championship. Skip Gist from the USGA Executive Committee here to hand the champion his trophy.
It is my honor and pleasure to announce the 2013 Junior Amateur Champions, Scotty Scheffler. Scotty, congratulations. Job well done.
Scotty, we talked yesterday and you told me you've been close in a lot of big tournaments, but just not able to win. What was the difference for you today?
I played pretty well down the stretch. In the morning round, I gave away a lot of shots that I shouldn't have, and I struggled with the putting a little bit early, but then I started to figure it out a little bit later.
What did you figure out as it went on?
I got more used to all these cameras and all these people, I think. I don't think my hands have ever been shaking so much in my life on that first hole.
How difficult was it to play a good friend, someone you spent a lot of time with?
It wasn't that. I mean, it was tough because we're such good friends and someone has to lose, but it was nice because I like Davis a lot.
What does this do for you moving forward to break through to know that you're one of the best junior amateurs in the country?
It feels really good. It's a good way to have my first win, I guess. It's a good spot.
How aware of you were you what was going on the last couple of holes, and especially right here at the last?
What do you mean?
Well, with the situation with Davis and the ball moving, how aware were you?
I wasn't aware. He called that on himself. It takes a lot of heart to do that.
When we spoke on Friday, you talked to me about your good friend James, who's battling bone cancer, and you said what he's dealing with has put golf in perspective. How much did you think about him today, and how much does this mean to bring it back to him?
It really came into my mind on 14. That shot I hit, I got really lucky on 14. That wedge shouldn't have been able to stay on the green, but I knew someone was looking down on me.
Well, congratulations on a great week. Well done, my friend. A lot of people are proud of you, and I know James is as well.
Thank you.
Mark, let's go back to you.
Thank you very much, Steve. What an emotional moment for Scotty Scheffler, who is the U.S. Junior Amateur Champion.
That's his dad, Scott. His younger sister, Molly's here, has 2 other sisters. His older sister, Callie, she is at Texas A&M. A lot of tears of joy and tears of sorrow on that green.
Well, in any championship match, Kay, there's going to be a winner and a loser. So let's talk about some tears of sorrow for a young man, Mr. Riley, who just probably cannot believe right now what happened that last hour, really.
I'm gutted for him. Honestly, he was in total control. Basically, for 7.5 hours, he had control of the match. He was up the entire time, lost a few holes, got it back to all square, regained the lead. He seemed like he was in total control. He handled a few mistakes quite well, but then in the end, when he missed that short putt, it was as if he suddenly started doubting himself. And then, coupled with some amazingly dramatic shots by Scotty Scheffler, in the course of 45 minutes, the entire match switched, and we had a winner that we might not have expected on the, say, the 13th tee.
We heard a statement from Scotty Scheffler earlier in the broadcast that he had never won a big tournament, that this was the biggest tournament, obviously, or championship in junior amateur golf. But what will a win like this now do for a player like Scotty Scheffler?
It's going to do an enormous amount for him. He obviously has a lot of physical talent, and he's still developing his game. He has a beautiful long game. He showed a lot of strength and creativity around the greens, and now to show that he's proven that he can, despite the odds being against him, despite the fact he was 3 down early on, he fought back, he hung in there, he kept believing in himself. He's going to carry all those things he did to win this USGA championship with him forward as he grows and develops into a wonderful player.
Integrity is such a big and important part of the game of golf. I don't know if I have ever seen a championship match of this magnitude end with a situation like that where a player actually calls a violation on himself.
Awesome.
Well, our next USGA championship will be the U.S. Women's Amateur. Coverage begins right here on Golf Channel on Wednesday, August the 7th. Charleston, South Carolina. A wonderful venue that will be coming up next. Third round coverage of the Albertsons Boise Open from the great Northwest. It's been a terrific week here at Martis Camp. Our thanks and gratitude goes out to everyone at Martis Camp who've done such an amazing job with this championship. So for Kay Cockrell, Steve Burkowski, Rich Beam, Val Skinner, and David Stabler, so long from Martis Camp. Scotty Scheffler is the champion.